let's have ourselves a good old-fashioned story time. And I'm going to tell you about two stocks that I've recently purchased. This one, Chipotle, goes all the way back to 2003, even maybe before that, when I was in high school. See, when I was in high school, all of my friends were obsessed with Chipotle. And I didn't understand back then that it was customizable, that it was like fast casual. You say, I want this, I want that. I didn't get it. And I knew that their burritos had bell peppers in them. And I don't like bell peppers. So I was always like, Chipotle, not a fan. Until one of my friends said, well, if you don't like the bell peppers, just say you want a regular burrito, not a fajita burrito. And I was like, immediately I was a huge Chipotle fan. Went all the time. And it was good. And it was like 10 or 11 bucks because I would always get guacamole. Now, cut to several years later, I'm early 20s. I'm living at home with my mom. And the stock market is facing some really down times. Now, I don't know a lot about the stock market back then, but I was working in the restaurant industry at the time. I was making around $10 an hour, living at home. I had a lot of money saved up. And I wrote down a wish list. These were some stocks all the way back. This is the original list. You can tell by how beat up it is. This is the original list of some stocks that I wanted. Now, all the way back then, in 2008, I had the money to invest, but I didn't have the confidence to invest because it was a recession. Everyone was freaking out. Oh my God, the markets are going to zero. If I knew then what I knew now, I would have pounced. But you can see here on this list, and back then, all I knew about the stock market was that you buy and you hold forever. So I had this list of companies here. You could see like Starbucks was $7, Bank of America was $12, Goldman Sachs was $55. Let's see here, McDonald's $55, Home Depot was $19, and there was one other company on that list. And of course, it was there because I ate there all the time, and I'm a big believer in you invest in what you love. Well, there it is, Chipotle, $38 a share, $38 a share. Now, I was also of the mindset that if you're going to invest in something, you go big. I wanted 300 shares. $38 a share, 300 shares, $11,000. Now, I could have afforded it, but that was a lot. And, I was in the mindset of you want big positions in companies. So, yeah, I could have got 100, I could have got 200, I could have got 50. But I was thinking, go big or go home. And since I wasn't prepared to drop $11,000, I just didn't do it. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, you wouldn't have held it all this time. But look, right before their stock split in 2024, Chipotle hit $3,000 a share. And as a long-term buy and hold investor, I'm here to tell you that I would have held those shares all this time because I bought WWE in 1999 and I've held it all this time. I bought Meta, which is Facebook, in 2012 on the day they went public. I held it all this time. So I have a history of buying and holding. That's what I was taught by my mom and my grandma. So the stock did hit $3,000. If I had purchased it at $38 per share, this would have been the difference. Multiply the gain by the amount of shares, and this would have been my profit. Are you kidding me? Obviously, I didn't buy the stock. And over the years, I was going to Chipotle a lot. I would go about once a week. And I noticed that over the years, the prices were getting more expensive. The restaurants were becoming dirtier. The staff was becoming rude. I would walk in and I would say, hey, could I have a steak burrito? And the guy would look at the steak and he would look at me and he would go, we're out of steak. Now, I worked in the restaurant industry, so, when you've got 20% left, you tell the cook, hey, fire more steak. Why weren't they being taught this? I couldn't understand. And so I was like, well, do you have more steak? And he'd be like, hey, do we have more steak? And the guy would be like, no, do you need steak? I'll start it now. It'll be about 20 minutes. And he would turn to me and go, it's going to be about 20 minutes. Like, yeah, I know. I heard the guy right behind you. Why aren't they communicating? So there were all these little problems. And as Chipotle expanded, and they expanded maybe too rapidly, the quality went downhill, the staff went downhill, they had E. coli, they had rats in the restaurant, it was just a disaster. And around the same time, Chipotle opened a new restaurant called Shop House, and it was like an Asian-inspired street food kind of place. And I was obsessed. So I went to Shop House all the time. I no longer went to Chipotle. And every time I would go back, it was just more and more expensive. Now, on TikTok, recently people have the portions. Look, I've never had a problem with the portions. They've always been large for me. But you add in all the things, and I just got a little tired of it. However, Chipotle announces first ever stock split, and it was a big one. The burrito chain has approved a 50-for-1 stock split. Now, this happened a long time ago. It happened in March. But there was no way I was going to miss my chance to get back in at Chipotle at a much more affordable price. So I picked up some stock, and now that I'm a shareholder, I find myself in need of supporting my investment, right? So I go to Chipotle a lot more these days. And yes, it's expensive. Take a look at this. I got a steak burrito, a small order of queso, and a large drink. Now I had a coupon for a large drink through the Chipotle app. So all of this cost me $21. That's crazy. Like, let's be honest here. This was a massive steak burrito with guacamole, a small side of queso, a drink, right? I said the drink was free. But yeah, let's be honest. It's expensive. Chipotle has become a luxury, which brings me to my other latest investment. And yeah, it's another invest in what you know, use, and love story. Cava. Cava. I've been eating there since 2011. And yeah, Cava is expensive too, but I've been eating there for a long time. The quality has remained the same. The pricing, yes, it's gone up a little bit, but it's not absurdly expensive, especially when you consider that a burrito is $20 now. The point is to invest in companies that you know, use, and love, especially if you've been supporting them for a long time. You might as well reap the benefits of being a shareholder. Sorry, that Chipotle is a little bit spicy and it is a little bit salty as well. Good thing I've got my e.l.f. lip balm here, which, by the way, I'm a shareholder in e.l.f. as well. I mean, I use their lip balm, right? Am I doing it right? Is anything even coming out? There it goes. But yeah, I invest in what I love. I invest in what I know. I wish I had done it with Chipotle all the way back when. I would have been sitting on probably $1 million by now. But I have the opportunity now to have hopefully similar returns, maybe not as much. I hope Cava learns from Chipotle and doesn't expand as rapidly. But I do think Cava could be the next Chipotle. To consider investing in companies that you know, use, and love. If I had purchased those 300 shares all the way back then, I would have likely had $1 million profit just from Chipotle. What was my reason? All the way back in 2008, was I looking at the price to earnings ratio or their sales or their revenue or their debt or their cash flow? Of course not. The reason I wanted stock in Chipotle all the way back in 2008 was because I ate there. That was my reason. If someone said to me, hey, why did you buy it? I ate there. I don't know. That's the reason. And yes, back then I bought something just because I liked it. But now I heavily research my potential investments. I'll show you how really quickly. Just go right here, click on the menu, and all of these resources are free. This is the most important thing. I end my videos with this just as a reminder. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered, and smart investors always smash that follow. Thanks for watching.